Hello, race fans. Peter Mackay here, welcoming you to the season finale of the Apex Racing Academy F3 VRS Super Series. We are here at Interlagos in Brazil to decide who will be the champion, the inaugural champion of the Apex Racing Academy F3 VRS Super Series. Joining me in the commentary box this evening is my esteemed colleague Brian Delp. Brian, it's been an incredible season so far with four brilliant rounds, but Interlagos has a bit of history for concluding race championships. Who's your pick for the win tonight?
Oh, that's definitely a tough one. I'm not exactly sure. We've seen so many guys where we think that they're going to be the front runners of a race, and then they maybe have a great heat, but then as soon as we get into the feature, they're just struggling. They have some issues, and then someone else takes the lead. So I don't know who to pick at this point because it's really been up in the air with David Holland, Herbinho, Hugh Barter. So all of these guys have really just kind of been around there and picking up wins throughout, except Holland is still trying to really get that really good finish that he wants. It's been tough times for him, so I'm not exactly sure who to pick at the moment, but I know that we're going to have a great race here to finish off the season. We've had a ton of great races throughout the series, and it's going to be exciting nonetheless, no matter who ends up picking up the win.
That's one thing that's certainly been the case is unpredictability here in the F3 Apex Racing Academy series. We have two races for you this evening, as we have throughout the season, with the first race going off in qualifying order, but when we get to race 2, we get an inverted grid for the top 12 drivers. So if you finish first, you will start 12th in the second race, which is a little bit longer. And that has been where we've really seen a lot of fireworks happen. We've also seen drivers who have hit problems in race 1 come in, got their fast repair, and fought their way back up and got themselves a good grid spot for the feature. We've seen that quite a few times, and I think tonight the key to this, Brian, I think, it's going to all be about just never giving up and just getting that car over the line and just bagging the points, because it's so close. I mean, in the Pro Class Championship, we've got Hugh Barter and Greg Seitz. They are joined on 152 points each. David Holland not too far behind at all on 142 points. And Christoph Herbinho, he's got an outside chance. He's in on 123. So it's going to be super, super close tonight.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, really, you need a good finish in both races, in the heat and in the feature, because you can have a good heat win, get put back in that back of the field, and then wreck your way out of that, and then you're just giving points away. So it really is going to come down to you need to be consistent in both the heat and the feature, and making sure that you get, I would say you have to have a top 5 in both at least. If not, putting yourself in the top 3 for both is going to be how you pull away from the championship. So we'll have to see how it goes. We've seen that usually the guys that do well in the heat end up getting stuck in the back for the feature and then can't make their way up and usually get caught in a wreck. So this is going to be a crazy finale here tonight, and I can't wait to get that green flag flying.
It is indeed. We'll just have to watch for going into turn 1. It's always a little bit of a bottleneck for the drivers, and I think you're absolutely right, Brian. Those if you're one of the championship contenders and you get stuck back in that pack for race 2, keeping that car clean and tidy is so tricky, because these carbon fiber Dallara chassis, they're very fragile, and we've seen that a number of times. Even a light contact can cause a lot of damage. And many drivers having to use their iRacing fast repair. So our drivers are just concluding their 1 hour and 20-minute practice session, with a number of drivers getting a good bunch of laps in and getting right up to speed. Tonight we've got a very, very high track temperature, 46 degrees centigrade track temperature, incredibly high. And what that means is that really high track temperature makes the surface really, really greasy and slippy, and the tires can't really grip, they can't really get the optimum performance. They actually work better in cooler temperatures. So that's something that the drivers are going to have to accept and not chase a lap time that the track's not going to allow. So that's going to be fascinating to watch as well throughout the night as well. But it's been an incredible season. We started off at Monza, then went to Laguna Seca, Bathurst, and then last week we had it was certainly an eventful race at Imola, wasn't it, Brian?
Oh yeah, I mean, you couldn't have expected to see what we saw last week. So just the amount of wrecks that we ended up seeing with some big names involved, it really just kind of put in perspective of what happened throughout this entire series, really, where you had guys just getting in incidents that were up there in that points lead. Big name, of course, David Holland struggling. So these guys that really have been trying to put themselves in good points position. And it's going to be the theme of tonight. We're going to sound like broken records over and over again. I know it, because we're constantly going to be talking about just putting your car in that good position. And that was the same in every race we've seen throughout the entire series, where it comes down to really being that car in the best position with a clean car and just having clean air and being able to really move. So it's going to come down to that, and there's no other way to put it, because if you're in an incident, it's going to be hard to fight your way back.
Absolutely, we're looking at we just had Dave McDonald there on screen, and now we do sometimes with paint software we get different images, but for you guys, number 66, Dave McDonald, are you getting a throwback Williams livery on screen? Is our producer Marco getting that? Well, I think I have my new favorite for livery of the season, Brian.
I think mine has still stayed the same, and I think we all know which one that is.
Yes, you made it very clear which is your favorite last time out. But yeah, this one here, an old Williams livery, looks to me from the Nigel Mansell era of Williams. Of course, quite a sad week for the Williams Formula One team this week, because not only Sir Frank Williams but his daughter Claire have stepped back from the family business, and what an incredible family business to have. But the team has been sold, but they've also stepped away from day-to-day involvement in the company as well, which for me, Brian, is very sad. These personalities, we see them in IndyCar and NASCAR. We have, your Roger Penske's, you have your Chip Ganassi's, Richard Childress, all these kinds of guys. But in Formula One, Williams are a team that many people have a bit of a soft spot for.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's also kind of rejuvenating for that Williams team. We all know the struggles that the Williams car has in F1 at the moment, and this sell is kind of a reboot for that Williams team, in my opinion, where with the new rules that F1 is implementing with the payouts throughout the teams and the field to kind of make it more equal throughout the entire field, it's going to give them an opportunity now to have these new owners really build that team back up to what we know it to be in the history of that team. So I think this is the best opportunity for Williams to really get back on that track to being a winning race team.
Yeah, I think that certainly an injection of finance is what's required. It's certainly an important part of Formula One. So our drivers are out doing their qualifying laps right now. So the drivers are all basically in their own private sort of mini session right now. They're all got the whole track to themselves to set their qualifying laps, and we'll see who comes out on top. And here at Interlagos, that track position is really, really important. You really don't want to be right in the middle of the melee going into turn one, because it is always fraught with danger. But we see so many exciting races here in the Formula One World Championship, and I'm sure with these Dallara F3s, it's going to be no different. In the AM class, we've got an equally tight championship. We've got Isaac Snyder, who has a 15-point lead in the championship from Brett Pancari and the Jordan Peugeot. Also, don't watch out for Aaron Smith in the number 42 Alpha Tauri machine. He's on 80 points, just 20 points back. So we'll give you a live update of the championship order after race one. You'll have to trust my maths, so they remain unofficial. But we'll try to keep you top side of where the drivers end up. So 3 minutes down in this qualifying session, and let's see who's going to lay down a fast time, Brian.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun to see also who in the AM class is going to jump up there, because I saw a few of the AM drivers in the top 5, it seemed like, during practice. So we might have some quick AM drivers tonight here. So some of these guys realizing that it is championship night, you got to lay it all out there, maybe putting in some extra work. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see. And the surprise I see already there is David Holland is actually fourth at the moment compared to where we normally see him is in that top 1 or 2 here in qualifying.
Yeah, he's right up there. We look at that. Kevin Zwemstra, the Dutchman, a 129.2, but I think we should likely we'll see a 1 minute 28 or maybe even a 1 minute 27. We certainly saw a 1 minute 27 in practice, but we'll just need to see how they get on. Of course, here at Interlagos, a really interesting layout because really, really tight, twisty, and very, very technical for our drivers throughout most of the lap. And then you have one big, long drag on the straight. So there is opportunity for drafting, but that dive bomb move into turn 1, we're going to see a lot of that tonight, I think, Brian.
Yeah, and also something that I see really surprising right there, the highest AM driver so far is Austin Knight. Our colleague here at Apex Racing TV is sitting in 6th at the moment, which that's a big surprise to me. We were giving him a little ribbing before we went live for the broadcast, so we'll have to see there. But he does get jumped there by Brett Punkari as the highest AM driver. And all the way at the top, it is David Holland jumping up with a 120. And just as I say that, Greg Seitz says, no, you don't. Coming in with a 128.478 to take the pole position so far.
Yeah, I just love it when you see the timing screen light up with purple and green of fast laps. Austin Knight puts in his fastest lap of the day, 1 minute 30.2. Good lap from the Texan ace. And I think maybe you just wound him up a little bit, Brian, where as soon as you told him you didn't like Corvettes, you've made him angry. And clearly an angry Austin is a fast Austin.
Yeah, I don't know. We were talking about it at the beginning of the race, and we were definitely giving a little bit of ribbing here. And just like that, I will be perfectly happy announcing this, that Aaron Smith has become the 6th position so far and the highest AM class driver at the moment. He just ran a 129.34 to jump up to that 6th position. And then up at the top is Sam Coitert running a 128.34 to be on pole position now.
Yeah, we know Sam Coitert, a very, very quick driver indeed. We see him he's quick in a 911 Cup car with the Porsche, but he's a very quick single-seater driver as well, and races go-karts in the real life. 1 minute 28.337, that's very, very quick. Hugh Barter, though, he's getting warmed up as well, just getting himself bedded in and putting in faster and faster lap times all the time. But tell you what, this is Brian, this is amazing, just seeing all these quick laps just going in. You look at all timing screen, it's just lighting up with green lap time. So green is the driver's fastest lap, and purple is the fastest lap of all.
Yeah, these guys just seem to be getting quicker and quicker, and I think that's just a testament to maybe getting more comfortable as it goes on to how things are going at the moment. So they're kind of just settling in, getting real comfortable at the moment. They're not having to worry about anyone else. They can just go out there and run laps. But I always like to say that it's nice to be fast in qualifying, but it really matters is how fast you are in the race, because racing around other cars is completely different than going out there by yourself and running these qualifying laps.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Brian. It's and being able to do consistent laps and not make the mistakes through the races. I totally agree with you. It's really, really challenging. I think most people can always pull out a big lap every now and again, but it's the best drivers are the guys that can just knock out those lap times all the way through. So we're riding on board right now. I think this is David Holland, and let's see where he puts in a 128.3 from David Holland, just 34 thousandths of a second from Sam Coitert. And just as he does that, Sam Coitert puts one in, and then Greg Seitz puts one on. This is incredible. This is certainly... do you think it's the season finale qualifying session, Brian? They're just putting in fast lap time one after the other.
Yeah, these guys are giving it all right now. They know how important that starting position is here and making sure you're on that pole position, so you have that best chance at getting into turn 1. And these guys are laying it all out there at the moment. So I can't say who's going to end up pulling this off as we're coming down to the end here. I can only imagine these guys getting even quicker in the next minutes or so. So these guys really are surprising me right now with how quick they're fighting.
I remember watching a qualifying session here in Formula One, but when was it? 2010. And it was Nico Hulkenberg's first year in Formula One, and he got pole position in the Williams, funnily enough. And basically, he was the last guy over the line. It was a sort of wet to dry session, and yeah, just I wonder maybe if the track temperatures maybe just dropping ever so slightly, but or just the drivers burning the fuel off. No, actually, in fact, the track temperature has gone up, but. Of course, these cars, the drivers are given a fixed setup, so it might be that just the more laps you do, the more fuel you burn and the lighter the car gets, and therefore you get a little bit of lap benefit.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being an option or a reason even. So one thing right now, Taylor Lane, we haven't said that name much, and he's now currently the highest AM driver. He's in 9th position overall, and he's the fastest of the AM drivers. So nice job to him to be able to run there. And then as we see on screen right now, we talked about those points and how important they are because Isaac Snyder, and a big spin there as we were left him, but he's currently one of those points or the points leader in the AM class, and so he really needs some good finishes today.
He does, and one thing he doesn't want for his championship hopes is to be sharing the 7th row of the grid with Austin Knight. That's filled with risk, shall we say? But yeah, you're right. Taylor Lane in the number 32 car. He's again who competes quite a lot in lots of different racing, a lot of GT racing as well, and he's a super exciting driver. We saw him certainly grab a lot of our attention at Laguna Seca a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, let's watch out for Taylor. So this is how they line up then for race number 1. Greg Seitz puts in a 1 minute 28.263 to take pole position from Sam Coitert. The fly in the ointment, not a championship contender, but right up there. David Holland will start 3rd alongside Hugh Barter. Dave McDonald and Kevin Zwemstra will be on row 3. Eddie Bezic and Dan Cranefus row 4. Taylor Lane and Aaron Smith, your 2 quickest AM-class runners. Ethan Lamp and Brett Pancari are 11th and 12th. Isaac Schneider rolls off from 13th alongside our very own Austin Knight. Row number 15th place is Aidan Aquino alongside Esteban Rosas. Frankie Mossman and Oscar Avella. Derek Holland, Steve Brown, Mark McDonald and Mitch Green make up our 22 car grid. So our drivers are just getting ready, hearing them blipping the throttle, eager to get going here at Interlagos in Brazil. A circuit that was founded all the way back in 1940. So plenty of heritage in this wonderful old school facility. We wait for the last drivers to come to the grid. Just got one more car to wait for. There it is. Barney the flagman getting ready to go absolutely bananas with his green flag. I think we've maybe got one more driver to wait for. Their driver's just being held on the grid right now. So this is the view to turn 1 from Sam Coitert's car, sitting in 2nd on the grid alongside Greg Seitz. There it is. We wait for the pole man. There, how cool is that? The pole man turns up late. The lights are illuminating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go, go, go! Here at Interlagos for the season finale of the Apex Racing Academy F3 Super Series. Greg Seitz gets a brilliant start, but Sam Coitert goes to the outside line. David Holland tucks there in 3rd place, but perfect start for Greg Seitz for Rust Racing. For the championship contender. Oh, we got somebody over the pit wall. It's both the fiercely forward cars. Well, the car is fiercely upside down. That's Taylor Lane. Oh no, off an AM-class pole position. That is a huge accident. And look at this, David Holland straight past Sam Coitert into 2nd place. He knows he can't let Greg Seitz get away.
Oh no, and more issues back there now. So some big issues happening all around at the moment, as I wasn't quite sure exactly what car these were. It doesn't, not quite sure who it was, but yeah, so the Greg Seitz did get a brilliant jump, but it was a fight kind of. There was a bit of games going on blocking and making sure you're being very defensive into turn 1. So a little bit of games, but Seitz was able to hold them all off, and now here he is taking the lead.
So remember, Greg Seitz and Hugh Barter are your joint championship leaders on 152 points each. But David Holland, he is third just on 142 points. So it's very, very close indeed. But Greg Seitz getting off to the perfect start from pole position. This is ideal stuff from the Rush Racing ace. But here comes Hugh Barter. Hugh Barter drafting up behind Sam Coiter. Now remember, Sam Coiter, he does not have a championship to worry about, and that will affect his racing. 3 wide, Barter goes to the inside, but you'll have to, just a little wiggle there. Oh, that's it, akin to Jenson Button in 2009, that little wiggle, and he's by. Brilliant stuff from the young Australian. Oh, big crash. Oh, it's Austin Knight's off. Austin Knight is off. Oh, my word. That is an enormous accident. Austin Knight is on his roof for the 3rd time this season. So, let's get a look at what happened here then. Austin Knight in the number 99, he gets collected as somebody else's accident. This is a replay of the start, and friendly fire between the two fiercely forward drivers, and like you say, fiercely upside down over the pit wall.
Yeah, it just seemed like one of the cars got loose there through that turn and just pushed out and tapped the other teammate, and it caused that. And here we are riding with Austin Knight during this past incident, and it seemed like this one actually wasn't his fault. A car just lost it in front of him, and he tried to get past and just barely nicked it and ended up on his roof afterwards.
I think he might. There was maybe a gap there, Brian. I know. I'm only kidding. We like to jest with Austin, but yeah, that was incredibly unlucky. But that's what we were talking about before the race. Getting involved in those kind of incidents in the early laps is so easy to happen, and you can have a great start stolen from you. And that's why Greg Seitz, he is just converting so well from pole position right now. But Sam Coiter, he's up to 2nd position in the number 28 car with the Daniel Ricciardo replica helmet. Down we go then towards the mid part of the circuit into Descida do Lago. Unfortunately, all the corner names here are in Portuguese, so that does make them slightly hard to pronounce.
Yeah, and another thing right now, though, is you see this line of cars up at the front. Hugh Barter needs to get up there. He is the one who really needs to challenge the most. Of course, David Holland does also, being up there still fighting for that points lead, but he's further back. Barter is right there with Seitz for points, so Barter really needs to fight to pass some of these cars and get up towards Seitz to be able to take some of those points away.
So in the AM class is very interesting stuff. Aaron Smith in the number 42 with the Damon Hill helmet here. He is leading in AM class, and he is in 6th overall, so he'll get a great bag of points if you put the flag out now. But Brett Poncari, the Canadian, he is in 8th overall right now, 2nd in class, so he will also get a good bag of points, and he's 5 points ahead of Smith in the championship. The championship leader, Isaac Snyder, he's all the way down in 17th overall, and quite far down the class order as well. So this AM class championship is flipping on its head.
Yeah, and so what we talked about at the beginning of the night and the race was that you got to keep the car clean. So, I mean, this is kind of what we expected to happen at the moment, where if a guy doesn't keep it clean, they're going to get punished for it from one of these drivers who does. So that's what we're seeing right now, in Aaron Smith, and that beautiful AlphaTauri car is taking advantage.
He certainly is indeed. But tell you what, Sam Coiter, he's putting in some really hot pace right now. He put in the fastest lap of anybody on that last circuit on lap number 3. And what that's doing is that's actually dragging David Holland along, because he can follow Sam. And in these sort of technical parts, it's actually not necessarily an advantage. In fact, you don't want to follow too closely and get that horrible aerodynamic Bermuda Triangle washout, which so many drivers hate. But once we get into this part of the circuit, through the final corner, and then up the gearbox, and then into the draft, that is where he can really benefit. So watch this. Remember, all the drivers have an identical setup, so there is no advantage on straight line speed for anyone.
Now, going on to this battle, as we're riding along here with Holland, draft is so important at this track, and just to be able to stay in the draft and get some of these big jumps on people, that's really how you're going to make a ton of passes here, is just being there and getting that big movement. especially here, and you'll see it as we're following along here, that Bestwick is just going to stay in that draft, and he's going to try and get a big run up into the first turn there and try to make the pass there. He's not able to do it, but that's where you'll see a lot of passes happening just because they're so long there that you are just following behind someone that gives you that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's certainly Hugh Barter certainly woken right up. Had a really quick lap there, 1 minute 28.1 the last time around. So he's right there. Look at this. We're looking back at Hugh Barter, your joint championship leader right now, and he's probably going to be thinking he wants to get a move on here. Half race distance already. Just goes past so quick, and there he goes. He goes for the move. Typical Interlagos move, but this is what this circuit's all about. You've got so many. There's plenty of room to make that move, but making it stick is so much more difficult because often the driver being overtaken can get the switch back, and you can tell just the body language of, oh my word, like I just took the words out of my mouth there. The body language of Hugh Barter's car just getting a little bit kind of frantic, a little bit impatient, and we saw that there. He was so close to spinning there, Brian.
Yeah, my heart started beating a bit the moment I saw that wheel turn right and trying to save that car. And here he goes again to the inside of Holland trying to make this pass, and he finally is able to get around him. We'll see if he can. Oh no, he's in the grass. So he is fighting so hard that he's put that car in the grass multiple times, and it's going to hurt him now because Holland's able to get the position back when Barter would have had it had he been able to stay on track.
Yeah, I tell you what, I really don't know how Hugh Barter kept that car out the wall. I thought that would have been, as soon as he's on the grass, I thought that would have been a one-way ticket to the wall, but somehow kept it out there. So Hugh Barter, well, giving us plenty of entertainment here, and David Holland, him looking in his mirror, he's probably thinking, what's this kid going to do next? Unbelievable. But all this battling, though, they're losing Sam Coiter, and that's not what they need. So for Sam Coiter, he was their meal ticket to catch up with Seitz, but he's broken away now. He's broken that toe. 2 seconds, that toe's gone now. So for Seitz, that is really good news indeed that Holland and Barter have lost the toe from Coiter.
Yeah, and I'm the one that always, and a car is around there. That's the 46 of Oscar Avila having issues, but it's that car going right, and we'll take a look and see. We're following along with, there he is. Just a little tag there, it seemed like, in the on the front, and it caused the car to just go around there and ended up losing it. Luckily, no one else collected. He's able to just get going again, but definitely lost a few spots there through that incident.
Yeah, class leader Isaac Schneider. David Holland makes a little bit of a mistake. Barter, I think, will get the run on him now. Round it side by side, down the straight they go, heading down towards the Ciudad do Lago. It can Barter defend. He's got the track position now. Moves across, defends his line very cleverly, very wise, and he just that was fierce. Barged Holland out onto the artificial grass there. And Holland, look at the body language of that car now. You can just see him wiggling around, and he's not going to let Barter have this. The gloves are off now, and Barter just getting a little bit twitchy there on the entry to the corner. It's such a tricky and technical circuit here, but tell you what, Brian, this is an excellent battle turning out here between Holland and Barter.
It is, but me being the person that I am, I'm kind of just sitting here thinking that you guys are fighting right now for third place while you're letting the leader get away. Every time you guys get side by side, it just gives that opportunity for the leader to get away. And oh no, a car around here. That looks like it is the 80 of Derek Holland having some major issues and being turned the wrong way.
Yes, let's see what happened. Just gets quite a lot of curb on the inside, and whoop, asks for the throttle that little bit early, and round he goes. Just clip the inside curb, and that was enough to do it. I totally agree with you, Brian. It's that strategy, but I think when you've got two drivers of this level, they both probably believe they have more pace than one another. I guess that's in their mindset. That's how, when you're at that level, I guess, and they probably don't want to they probably think, well, I'm better being the car in front, they're better following me than the other way around. But interesting stuff, but like you say, it is exactly what's happened. It has allowed not only Coiter to get away, but Greg Seitz. Wow, this is his drive of the season, no question about it, and he has pulled it out the bag at exactly the right moment, just when the pressure is on he has risen to the occasion in that 74 car. And we spoke to him at the end of the race last time out, and he said, I'm just racing for fun. This is just a bit of fun for me. Yeah, right. He is delivering like a proper champion-elect right now.
Yeah, and the other big thing is that, and I guess this could be beneficial to them to run in that third or fourth spot, because it does give them the opportunity to start higher up in the grid for the feature race. So maybe it is more beneficial to be that fourth place car, but it does take away points. So it's kind of that give and take on what's going to set you up to have the best points day. Is it going to be finishing best in this heat and putting yourself further back in that field, or is it going to be having the better finish in the feature by starting up further in the field? So it's going to be one of those things, as these two are still side by side and fighting it out as we go back to them.
It is, and there's great respect and great room given between each driver. Sometimes you can get, Hugh Barter, he's racing down in Australia, David Holland's in the US, and whoa, they've got to give themselves just that little bit extra racing room. But just as I say that, they bang wheels. Look at that. Down they go then. Holland up the inside, but Barter will try to get the switchback. He might just get it. No, David Holland gets the move done, and Barter has to go right. He's going to go round the outside. He sells the dummy. Oh, not quite. Not quite. This is brilliant stuff. Amazing. Great respect from both drivers, but really fierce and aggressive as well. Fantastic. And I tell you what, and Austin Knight's off the track again. I tell you what, Brian, you'll be happy about this. All this bickering is just bringing Aaron Smith even closer. He could get a huge haul of points here if he keeps it on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, and another car that's right there also is Dave McDonald in the 66, who's in 5th. So it's bringing both of those cars to them. And something I saw that was dangerous, especially between David Holland and Hugh Barter, was that tire touch. We've seen on multiple occasions where a car can get sent up in the air just from tires touching the wrong way. And so these guys really have to be careful in how they're getting so close to one another so that they're not doing that and sending someone off the track, because the moment they do that, look at the guys that are right there to pounce on it, because it's not like they're that far back from them.
Huge. Sorry to cut across you there, Brian. Massive moment there from Hugh Barter coming down the first turn and the Senna S. Massive wiggle moment onto the grass. Somehow keeps it out the wall, but that is allowed David Holland to get free. So this is huge. Oh, and Barter goes wide again. Oh, he's a few mistakes creeping in. Maybe the pressure getting to young Hugh Barter perhaps, but for Greg Seitz, he has just handled the pressure so well. We're on the white flag lap now, final lap. He heads round towards the back part of the circuit. It's been a flawless drive from Greg Seitz, nearly a 2.8 second advantage, and well, he's mastered this Interlagos circuit. And in the AM class, well, Aaron Smith, he holds a very commanding lead from Brett Punkari. So tell you what, Brian, there's been plenty of turnarounds here in the championship, but Greg Seitz is going to be your race 1 winner here in the Apex Racing Academy F3 Super Series season finale. The joint championship leader becomes the outright championship leader with 1 race left. Greg Seitz wins then for Rush Racing, with Sam Coiter in 2nd, David Holland rounding out the podium, Hugh Barter finishing down in 4th, and look at that for Aaron Smith, 6th overall. A great bag of points for his AM class championship charge.
Yeah, the only problem is Brett Punkari finishes 9th here, so and he was the 2nd place AM driver in points coming into the race. So Punkari, I believe, will end up with the points lead in the AM. Don't quote me on that, because everything we do say points-wise is completely unofficial. So, but it does seem like Punkari is going to get a great amount of points. Although Isaac Snyder did fight back to have a good finish in 12th. So it's shaping up to be a great amateur points battle also for the final feature race.
Certainly is. I tell you what, Brian, right now, I wish I listened a little bit more in math class, because my brain is exploding right now. I don't know what's overheating more, my brain or my laptop running the iRacing software right now. It's going to be really, really exciting. So while our driver's now just going into a little warm-up session before we go into the feature race. But this is how they finished in race 1. Greg Seitz rising to the occasion and winning by 2.7 seconds from Sam Coiter. David Holland rounded out the podium in third for Delta Sport Team Raptor. Fourth was Hugh Barter, not what he wanted, but still not far away. Dave McDonald for Rush Racing Iron was fifth. Aaron Smith was your AM class winner. Dan Crenfus was seventh and Ethan Lamp eighth. Brett Pancari second in AM class, ninth overall. Mark McDonald was 10th. 11th was Frankie Mossman. 12th, Isaac Snyder. Eddie Bezic was 13th. Esteban Rosas was 14th. Derek Holland 15th. Oscar Avella 16th. Steve Brown in 17th. Kevin Zwemstra 18th. Austin Knight 19th, Aidan Aquino 20th, Taylor Lane 21st, and finally Mitch Green was 22nd. So, just a few minutes of warm-up to go. Our drivers get a chance to just get a little familiarization before we go into the full-length feature.
I'm looking forward to this because this is the big race. This is the final race. We thought that they were wild and battling hard there in the heat race. Well, this is it. There's no next race after this. There's no coming back next week. There's nothing. This is lay it all out there. Put your chips on the table, put your chair in, stand up, and just get ready to battle. So it's all in time for these guys, and we'll see what ends up happening because I can't say because all of those guys that we saw run up front, well, they're going back starting in 10th and moving forward. So we'll see what happens now.
Yeah, it's gonna be an absolute cracker. Indeed, we're looking at Brett Pancari on screen. He's got himself right in the hunt. The Aaron Smith just closing up ever so slightly by 2 points. So there's now only 3 points in the favour of Brett Pancari, and they've both gained quite a bit of ground on Isaac Snyder. So just finishing off my calculations, Brian, and I will have confirmation for you.
Yeah, so as we're looking through just some of the liveries even, because we do got to remember, there is a livery contest here for best livery, and my friend Peter and me have been looking throughout the season. I think we all know which one that I have kind of set my eye on after my mistake slip up last week of saying my AlphaTauri. So I think we know where we're looking. We have a few new schemes this week. Austin Knight, for one, our buddy, is running a new paint scheme. It is a Las Vegas Golden Knight scheme. Of course, the NHL over here is into the playoffs, so there's a few there. Of course, another one my colleague Peter has mentioned is the one we're riding along with now, Brent Pancari, who's running that Jordan Peugeot throwback scheme also. And we know Peter loves his throwbacks, so he's doing all that math at the moment. But so there's definitely some new schemes out here. So if you're in the chat, if you want to go ahead and leave which ones you've seen that you think are some of the best, and maybe it can sway us, but I think we've kind of settled on which ones we're really loving at the moment. But Brett Pancari had a great finish last race in the heat, and he's going to have to really battle here in the feature if he wants to come away with the points lead after the feature race.
I have to say, I completely agree with your sentiments, Brian. Throwback schemes are always the best. They always evoke great memories, and I cannot believe that I've made it this far in my 30 years on planet Earth, and I've never got hooked on cigarettes, because I certainly love all the tobacco company paint schemes, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a different time back then, but of course we were talking about paint schemes. There we are riding along with our colleague Austin Knight, and we got to see a little bit of his paint scheme that's really close to him because, of course, his last name is also the mascot, basically, of Las Vegas hockey team, so he's really got a close relationship there of wanting that team to do really well.
He was actually, I think, was it Wolfpack Esports he had last time out? But I have to say, it's a really good looking paint scheme that Austin's got there. It reminds me a lot of the Lotus F1 team that Kimi Räikkönen drove for about 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different of a scheme here. He's mixing, of course, I believe that he's got some red on there, which isn't normally something you would see. He just turned it nose first into the wall as soon as warm-up ends. Of course, Austin is always quite fun and just giving us a little show there at the end.
It's never a dull moment when you've got Austin either in the booth or on the track. So let's see how our drivers line up then for this final race of what has been a fantastic Apex Racing Academy F3 VRS Super Series. Running off from pole position will be Mark McDonald alongside AM-class contender Brett Pancari. On row 2 will be Ethan Lamp and Dan Cranefiss. Row 3 will be Aaron Smith, another challenger for the AM-class title, and Dave McDonald. Hugh Barter will roll off from 7th alongside David Holland. Sam Coitert will roll 9th, and Greg Seitz will have to come from 10th. Watch for him. Frankie Mossman will start 11th, and Isaac Snyder back in 12th. Wait, you'll see the rest of our runners there. Our drivers are keen to get going. We should wait for the lights. They are up and we are off. The final race of the season is go here at Interlagos. Brett Pancari gets away cleanly, but it's the 21 of McDonald getting in there. Number 95 there of Lamp getting in. Oh, they all get through turn 1 safe and sound, but there's chaos. Absolute chaos. Coitert's involved. Snyder's involved. He is one of the AM-class contenders. And Sam Coitert's in there as well. Have all of our other championship contenders got through cleanly? We will be able to get you an update on that very, very soon. I'm looking up and down my timing screen furiously. Barter has got through safely. Holland has got through safely. And I'm trying to look, where is Greg Seitz? He has got through safely as well. So most of our championship contenders through there safely, Brian.
Yeah, and that's a big sigh of relief for those guys but I wouldn't completely hold your breath yet because there is still time. Usually we always know those first couple laps, I would say the first 3 laps really, are crazy during a feature race, especially because it's really get going time. Because as the race progresses from there, you're kind of spread out more. So the first 3 laps, you're kind of more close together with one another. And those guys that are starting, they remember that the top 10 is an inverse of what the finishing order was in the heat race. So these guys are trying to fight their way up through the field. So it causes them some intense moments trying to make their way through. And so I don't think the wrecks are done. So these guys are really going to have to try to fight.
Hugh Barter's going into pit lane, and he was really late on the brakes there. I don't know, he might get a pit lane speeding penalty, but Hugh Barter, championship contender, is in pit lane. This is an absolute disaster for the young star. He'll take his fast repair. There he goes. Car's back to 100% again, and well, it's another Interlagos season finale. Let's see what happens to young Hugh Barter then. Waiting for the lights to go. Ready to launch off the line. Off he goes. Oh, he gets a jump start. I don't believe it. He's got a jump start. That is, thank you to our producer Marco Barbanera in Rome for that. Well spotted. I have to say I missed that one, Brian, but oh, that is devastating for the young man.
Yeah, I think the pressure just ended up getting to him. His nerves were a little bit weak. It's very easy to be able to do something silly like that. It's a silly little mistake, and any driver would say it. But that silly little mistake just puts you behind the ball. And I mean, he's so far down now that he's running all the way back in the 16th position. So he's so far back, it's going to be almost impossible for him to be able to make up the points needed now. I think that it almost effectively ruins his championship chances, unless of course the other championship leaders wreck out, but I don't exactly see all of them doing it, so it's just going to be a tough break for Hugh Barter.
It certainly is, but as we've seen, stranger things have happened here. Whoa, as we see the number 95 Ethan Lamp spinning and coming back onto the track. Oh, be careful. Whoa. Let's see, as you say, Brian, anything can happen. Just to get an update on the championship points. Hugh Barter came into this final race 175, Greg Seitz 182, and David Holland getting squeezed there big time by McDonald. David Holland, he is on 166, so it's advantage Greg Seitz for sure, but oof, tell you what, David Holland getting some real hassle here from McDonald in the 21 car. In the AM class, it's even more interesting. Isaac Snyder, 115 points. Brett Poincaré on 103, and Aaron Smith on 101. But of course, Snyder had a disaster at the start. So it's all change. And remember, to score points, you have to be within one. You have to be no more than one lap off the lead lap. So we'll just need to keep our eye on that, how that goes throughout the rest of the race.
Yeah, and what I find interesting here is David Holland isn't able to get past Mark McDonald. I think that we would all expect David Holland to be much faster, but Mark McDonald has really been racing hard here, and they are close. I mean, I don't think you can get much closer than what they were right there without touching one another. So that's some intense racing right there, but I think this might be the best opportunity. He's going to try the switchback, and he can't quite do it, and it seems like David Holland now has the lead, but what them fighting has allowed to happen is Greg Seitz has been able to make up time, and he's starting to gain that ground in on the leaders as again they're going to try and pass one another.
Yeah, this is interesting. David Holland, he's got two options here. Either try and put in some mega qualifying laps and try and break away, but that doesn't look like it's going to be possible right now. But the other has another option. He can actually try. He needs a big lot of points on Greg Seitz, and right now he's not gonna get enough. So what he can do, and you do see this sometimes in season finales, where David Holland tries to back up the field, so tries to back up these two cars behind him to try and get Greg Seitz involved in a bit of a melee and maybe see him hit problems. So we do see that slightly dirty tactics, but it can be done, and this might be what happens whether David Holland tries to do it or not. It looks to me, Brian, that this might end up these three cars battling could back up into Greg Seitz, and then all of a sudden it's a 4-car battle, and that's when things get really spicy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if this track really lays itself out to be a great track to do that, just because of for how long, especially right here, that you're just open for you kind of just pull away a bit and make up some of that time that was lost throughout the rest of the track. So, oh no, big issues there for Mark McDonald. He just seemed to go straight there, didn't end up turning in at all, maybe missing the braking point, just lack of concentration there at that moment.
Yeah, big lockup. Really easy as a downhill braking point, and when you're turning in, braking the car, it's really easy to pinch a lockup there, and that's what happened. As Sam Coitert puts in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:28.1. He's back in 17th after getting involved in the almost inevitable turn 1 melee. We've seen it so many times in the Formula 1 World Championship, causing problems there. But tell you what, Greg Seitz, he's doing everything he needs to do for Rust Racing right now. He's up to 2nd place overall behind David Holland, and he just needs to hold station now. Just try not make mistakes. Let's have a look then. Let's see what happens to David McDonald. He maybe just outbrakes himself. Outbrakes himself and then puts a wheel on the grass, and well, that grass becomes ice.
Yeah, Mark McDonald just having some big issues there. Oh no!
Yeah, come on, Brian. Say it. Go on.
I was just about to praise him. He was ahead. He was leading the AM class. I was thinking it, and I guess I cursed him in my own head, I guess. I was just looking at the AM class and seeing where Aaron Smith was running, and he was running first, and then I looked down and we get a picture of it, and he's now sideways, and there he is. He just lost it on his own. We talked about it a couple weeks ago where we thought we should have a spin counter just for him, and sadly he ends up spinning it there, so he'll have to fight for it to get all the way back up there, as Brent Poincaré is leading the AM class now, and I believe that would most likely give him the points lead, because Isaac Snyder has had an awful day. He's running down in 18th, so it's looking more and more like this AM class championship is Brent Poincaré's to lose.
Well, it's interesting. Snyder still has a 12-point advantage coming into this race. So say if you were to put the flag out right now, Brett Poincaré is in 9th. That would get him 18 points. Snyder right now, he is in 18th. That would get him 9 points. So that would still actually Snyder would win by just 3 points at this stage. So actually, for Snyder, he's just got to keep going, keep plugging away, and he might hope that Pancari comes into trouble or he gains a few spots. This is going to be so close in the AM Class Championship. Fantastic stuff. Also saw when we were seeing in inverted commas your AlphaTauri spinning. I did see Hugh Barter getting into a little bit of contact with another driver. It doesn't appear to be holding him back too much, but he did get a little bit of contact there. I think with the number 10 of Aquino, but I could be wrong. So we'll just need to keep an eye on the 68 and see how he gets on.
Yeah, and I think Pancari realizes now that he needs more positions, because I've seen him swap spots with Ethan Lamp at the moment, trying to get that position away from Lamp. So Pancari realizing he still doesn't have enough points and needs to push. So that may lead to some interesting options if Pancari ends up wrecking out, maybe getting into someone, or maybe guys in front of him wreck. That is some close racing right there. I don't know how I would feel about that.
Yeah, and of course, open wheel racing, it's so easy to get a tangled wheel, and then these cars are so fragile that, yeah, the slightest contact and they just smash into very expensive pieces. And as Pancari goes wide, he'll have to be really defensive now. Does he just about hold it off there from Grainfuss? Oh, tell you what, Brian, this has been the best round of the season. Fantastic racing. We've seen a lot of these drivers really improve a lot, and that's what a lot of this series is about. They get carries off, massive accident, huge accident. He's in the wall, and the Jordan Peugeot Driver Championships go up. His hopes go up in smoke. That was always the danger, Brian, getting involved with these guys.
Yeah, and I mentioned it. I even said it could easily an opportunity would present itself for them to just tangle, and it did. You can see the back wheel and the front wheel tangled with one another. It put his car up in the air and threw him effectively off the racetrack. There was nothing he could do at that moment. The moment they touched, he was along for the ride with no opportunity here. As we're going to ride along, he went over top of the other car, and I believe that's Dan Cranefuss maybe that he went over, or was it Ethan Lamp? One of the two. He went over top of them and got flung out into the wall.
Yeah. Oh no, it's hard to say. I think it was maybe Cranefuss, but I think that's such a shame for Brett Pancari, because he didn't, like you say, he did nothing wrong there. He held his line, and he just got the guy, either Lamp or Cranefuss, can't quite tell right now, just turned into him. And like you say, in a touring car you can get away with that, but not in a single seater. And that's kind of burst the air out the balloon of his AM Class hopes. But for Aaron Smith, now we look to oh my goodness me, Aaron Smith there gets a huge hip check there from Taylor Lane. We know Taylor Lane's a very aggressive, fiercely forward driver, and let's hope that Aaron Smith hasn't got damaged there. But that was a pretty big impact, Brian.
Okay, we're no longer going to talk about Aaron Smith at the moment until the end of the race. So this is the last moment that Peter will be mentioning Aaron Smith, because every time he has, an incident has happened. So we're going to go ahead and move on to someone else in a different battle.
I'm not superstitious, so I'm going to say that Aaron Smith was very unlucky there, and he just little bit of wheel banging, but he seems to have got away with it. So that's good news, and he's popping plate. Oh no! Oh, okay, Brian. Maybe you're onto something.
What did I say?
This is incredible. I've never seen anything like it. So let's have a look then at Aaron Smith. He's in the draft with Taylor Lane. Moves to the inside. Typical Interlagos move. Dives down the inside. He goes. Gets the move. Almost done onto the grass. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, so he just about gets it back. So unless he's got a bit of floor damage, I think he can still continue. This is classic Aaron Smith, though, isn't it, Brian? He's certainly had a couple of spin to wins. He's certainly nothing short of entertaining, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, he leaves it all out on the track the entire time. We've seen him. The one race, I think he spun maybe 6 times and still came away with a decent finish. And then he also, like we talked about, I think he spun twice in a race that he ended up winning for the M class. So Aaron Smith leaves it all out there, but he's now got to make at least one pass to get back into the M class lead. And after the incidents he's had, who thought we'd be saying that?
I know, absolutely. Well, At the moment, though, Isaac Snyder is doing enough. Even after that incident in the opening lap, he is in a championship-winning position right now, as we see Ethan Lamp going into pit lane. So it's all happening here in the Apex Racing Academy VRS Super Series, and like I say, there's so many of the drivers have made such great improvements in their performances as the league has gone on. Oh, as we see, oh my goodness me! Big hip check again. Oh, that's Aaron Smith's Class hopes over. He's had an incident with the number 10 of Aquino. Let's get a replay of this. So, let's see what happens. That's Sam Coiter going round the outside. He gets it done. Aaron Smith goes wide and spins and straight into the path of Aquino. Oh, what a pity. What a pity.
Oh, we've done it, haven't we?
Really have.
We completely cursed Aaron Smith from having a decent finish here. But looking ahead at the battle at the lead at the moment, we haven't really talked about it. We've been looking at all the action throughout the field because there's been so much happening that Greg Seitz has brought it down to a second. He's right there with Holland, and maybe in the next couple laps, if he can run some really fast laps, he can get theirs. Oh no! It looks like Holland has an issue, and Seitz is able to get past and into the lead.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was going to say Greg Seitz didn't need to go by, but when he's given a gift like that, well, this has just been Christmas Day for Greg Seitz. You see a brilliant battle here between Bezic and McDonald, but let's see what happened to David Holland. It's very difficult braking zone. There's a back marker going very slow in the middle of the track here. Oh, that's so unlucky. He did really well to avoid contact, but nothing David Holland could do there. Did the best he could, but that's gutting for the championship contender, and we knew that first place was not going to be good enough if Greg Seitz finished second, but Greg Seitz moves up into the lead now. So coming into this round, joint championship leader with Hugh Barter, and well, to get 2 race wins from pole position, well, that would just be an ice cool flawless performance. But look at Hugh Barter, who got involved in the incident early on. He's up to 7, so he's not giving up as the tenacious young Aussie. Fantastic stuff. I love that spirit, Brian, how he's had a difficult day, but he is not giving up. He refuses to give up. It's brilliant to see.
Yeah, all you can really hope for now is maybe an issue with a lapped car in front of Seitz and Holland that takes them both out, but Holland has been so unlucky in this series because we've talked about how many times he's finished second and then how many times he's had the lead and just ends up something happens that takes that lead away from him. So Holland just wanted to win a race and wanted to win today and possibly put himself in the championship potential. But even if he ended up not winning that championship, I know he wanted to get that winning race, and just again something goes wrong that he's not able to.
Yeah, so 3.5 laps or so to go here at Interlagos. Quite a short lap, of course, here at Interlagos. So Greg Seitz, he has got the one hand on this championship trophy, the Apex Racing Academy F3 VRS Super Series, and a big thank you to our series sponsor, VRS, the virtual racing school. If you want to go quicker in iRacing, give them a call. They would be delighted to help you. Also, Apex Racing Academy. Get coaching from the Apex Racing team. And I tell you what, no substitute for good coaching. As we see, brilliant battle going on here between McDonald and Bezic, battling for 5th position right now. But it's been really good stuff there. But Taylor Lane in the number 32, he is heading the AM class by nearly 5 seconds right now. So after that horrible incident in race number 1, where he ended up on his roof in the pit lane, somehow he's now leading very, very strongly in the AM class. And oh my word, he's had a spin. And can he get it going again? Who's this coming around? He's waiting. It's Austin Knight. Austin Knight goes up into 2nd place. Derek Holland is in 1st. Now, we're going to have a battle for the AM class win between Derek Holland and Austin Knight. Our very own Austin Knight is in 2nd place.
Okay, Austin will get really mad at us if we talk about him, so we can't talk about him. We can only look at him.
Yeah,
he got very angry last week.
I think Austin Knight would be really upset if he made a mistake now while we're talking about him on air. But yeah, 2.5 laps to go, and he's going to get on the charge. You can see the young Texan, he's really on the charge now. He's in the draft of Derek Holland, and can he get this AM Class victory? And I tell you what, Brian, if he does, well, he's going to be... I can't wait to see his acceptance speech.
Yeah, even if he finishes on the podium, he's going to be very excited here. So we'll see. He's going to... I don't know if he actually realizes, but he is using the SDK's gaming software to be able to track all this stuff. So he may be able to see that he is running second in the AM class at the moment. So we'll have to see, but he's really putting on the lap times right now to try to get up there.
Certainly is, absolutely. And oh, here we go. Here we go. Derek Holland and Austin Knight. Now, Austin, what? He's just backed off ever so slightly there. Maybe just made a little mistake, but he's got the run. Great run here. Coming down into the final sector of the circuit. He's definitely in the draft room. Gets a little wiggle on the power there. Up we go. Down the front straight we go then. We're heading onto the penultimate lap. And, well, this is going to be a thriller heading down to the very wire. Austin Knight, he joined the series in round 3 at Bathurst. And, well, here he goes then. He looks up the inside of Derek Holland, goes for a big move, just thinks better of it. Very wise from young Austin there.
Yeah, I don't... Oh, he got a little loose there, it looked like, for a second, so I got worried as I started to talk. But I think he's trying to just... really be careful here. He doesn't want to throw away this finish, and that's something we hadn't really seen from him. He was very impatient, it seemed like, from the past couple of races. So maybe learning from his mistakes, wanting to get this good finish, and seeing that there will be other opportunities possibly throughout this lap to make that pass.
Well, it says Vegas on the side of the car. Is Austin Knight going to roll the dice and send it up the inside and go for victory here in the AM class? Greg Seitz, he's leading by 9/10 of a second at the front, so managing that gap very, very well from David Holland. David Holland really charging hard. He's brought that gap down. He's halved it from the last time I looked a couple of laps ago. Good lap though, best lap so far of the race from Greg Seitz. So he's pushing 128.5. That's quick. Holland just 1/10 of a second quicker. So this is the final lap then of the season for Greg Seitz, and if he holds position here, he will be the champion. So we head on to the final lap then for our AM class runner, and it's Derek Holland leading Austin Knight as we head into the final lap, and it's impossible to call who's going to take this AM class victory.
Yeah, Austin's going to really be smooth here if he wants to get past Holland. Holland has been running quite quick laps in the AM class and being able to stay up front here and just running smooth. Austin hasn't really gained any ground, so it's going to be really difficult for Austin to get there.
Know that Austin's going to have a go though. It's the last race of the season, the last corner. Watch for it as we see David Holland just clips a little bit more time out of Greg Seitz, but Greg Seitz being really consistent as we head into the final few corners. Oh, David Holland really pushing very, very hard indeed. And we head on to the front straight. It looks like he's got enough in hand. He does. Greg Seitz is going to be the... Oh, he backs off. Oh, my goodness me. He backs off and lets David Holland by, and they go for a photo finish. But Greg Seitz is your Apex Racing Academy F3 VRS Super Series champion. What a drive from Greg Seitz, and very gentlemanly gives David Holland the win at the end. Speaking of wins, speaking of Holland, Derek Holland, he's coming out the final turn and looks like he's just going to get it from Austin Knight.
Yeah, and this is impressive from both of them. We usually, if we end up speaking about them, it's usually some incident that has happened back towards the middle of the field, but they both just ran clean today and were able to end up getting it. So Holland able to take the win in the AM class, and who would have thought that Austin Knight would come home second? But it is Isaac Snyder being able to do enough to be able to come away with the AM class championship.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from the number 33 of Isaac Snyder. Didn't give up. A really good recovery drive after damage early on in the race, and yeah, really well deserved AM class championship. And Brian, what amazing 5 weeks it's been. We've seen some incredible action, and I think today at Interlagos, we saw the very, very best from our drivers. So let's take a very little look then at our race results as we're waiting for our drivers to come over the line. But Isaac Snyder then, he is your AM Class champion, and Greg Seitz, your Pro Class champion. I tell you what, Brian, I cannot wait to get a chat with some of the drivers.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to talk to some of them and kind of learn how they feel their race went along with their battles with other guys. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to talk with them.
So here's your order then. David Holland wins. Greg Seitz, very gentlemanly, allowing David Holland to take the race win. Greg Seitz finishing second and clinching the inaugural Apex Racing Academy F3 Super Series. Fantastic stuff from him. Dave McDonald finished in third place. Kevin Swemstra was fourth. Mark McDonald fifth. Hugh Barter, the young man, fought hard, fought back, and I love that young man's spirit, getting back up to sixth place after an early incident. Eddie Besick was seventh. Sam Coiter eighth. Dan Krainfuss was ninth. And Derek Holland for Indy Autosport, a brilliant drive to just pinch the AM Class win from Austin Knight. 12th was Ethan Lamp. 13th was Taylor Lane, followed by Esteban Rosas. Isaac Snyder, your AM Class champion. Aaron Smith, who came ever so close to that AM Class victory. Oscar Avella and Aidan Aquino in 18th. And your final four runners, Steve Brown, Brett Pancari, Frankie Mossman, and Mitch Green. So, Brian, who do we have to come and have a chat with us after what has been an incredible season? It looks like we have young Austin Knight ready to speak to you.
Well, you did it. Austin, you finished second in class. How does it feel?
Yeah, baby! Woo! I should not spray this around my room right now, but I don't care.
Oh, well, I can't say it was the most expected thing in the world, but you ended up doing it.
I wasn't expecting anything today. I was just expecting a top 5 or a clean race, not dying. I obviously failed at that one, race 1. Not my fault, though. But wow.
Well, we were giving you some ribbing before the race, and apparently
you always give me a ribbon.
Yes, but apparently it caused something to awaken in you that you just ended up deciding to go out there and be on a podium in your class today. So, well, I mean, this was the final race of the season. If there was ever a race to do it, it was at this moment, and you actually avoided some wrecks there in that feature race. So, how do you feel overall it went for you?
Well, overall, I must say I have the biggest smile on my face right now. I came into this series just looking for something fun to do on a Saturday night because I don't ever drive the Formula 3 car. I have about 3 weeks of experience on this car, and I'm just like, it's a fun race series to do. I have something to focus on that keeps my head off of work and just going crazy in life, and to come off in a series that I wasn't even expecting to join in a podium, you might be seeing me here again.
Well, it's definitely a great run today, and especially after you ended up on your lid in the first race. Talk about that incident.
I don't think you want me to talk about that incident unless you have a swear word, Ray, but to get taken out by somebody who just floors it straight back onto the track and expecting it to continue going straight is just absolutely stupid. And when I saw him crash in the feature race, I'm just like, I called that so hard right there. That guy was making so many aggressive moves that it's just a shame that some people just think that they can just bully people like that. But hey, he got what was coming to him, beat him both races, and I'm on the podium. What now?
Well, it was definitely a good run. Well, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to while you're here on Apex Racing TV?
Well, I definitely want to thank Apex Racing Academy, Apex Racing TV, Wolfpack Esports, my sponsors over at Artesian Builds. Go check them out. They're making a brand spanking new hashtag Dark Knights build right now for me and my job at Threat Tech. And I also want to thank Vegas Golden Knights for getting into the Western Conference Finals, and we're going to take the finals. Go Knights, go! Go Knights, go! You can move me out now. Go Knights, go! Go!
And that was our ever lovely colleague Austin Knight coming away with a podium finish in the AM class.
So modest and gentle man, isn't he? He really is. Well,
He's something.
Brian, we have our series champion, Greg Seitz, here to chat to us. Let's see if we can get him into the interview room. Greg Seitz, you are the Apex Racing Academy F3 VRS Super Series champion. How does it feel, sir?
Feels great. It was really my pace all season was decent, but really consistency I think is what got me there in the end.
So last week you said, I'm here for fun and just enjoying myself. Well, today you just was that the secret today? Because it seemed like the pressure got to a few other drivers, but it seemed to spur you on a pole position and what would have been 2 victories. Is that your secret?
Not really. Actually, this was probably the one race of the season I was actually a little bit stressed over, so maybe I need the stress.
It certainly worked, and your Rust Racing team. There's been quite a few of you out there on the track. Have you guys been helping each other in the run up to get the car dialed in?
Yeah, we practice together all the time, and it really helps pay off in terms of just really working in track and working some practice, side by side stuff, so that when the time comes, you're ready for it.
So, Greg, as the Apex Racing Academy F3 champion, who would you like to give a shout out to live here on the broadcast?
I want to give a shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast, the Apex Racing League, and then of course my team. Really great job, and of course also all the competitors, Hugh and David. Really some tough competition this season, and really happy to win. But those guys did a great job.
Greg, thank you so much for coming to join us. Congratulations. Go and enjoy that championship.
Yeah, thanks, Peter.
So that was Greg Seitz, and I believe Brian Delp is with our AM Class champion, Isaac Snyder.
Isaac Snyder, our AM Class champion. How does it feel?
It feels pretty nice, but I kind of wish I did a little bit better this weekend.
Yeah, talking about that, you had some rough races there for those 2 races. It seemed like, especially in the feature race, there was a first laps incident there that kind of gave you some issues. You want to talk about that for us?
Well, both races I had someone got into me on the first corner of the first race, and that sent me around. So I had to pit for that because I didn't have a front wing. After that, I was like 20th, so I fought my way back up to 12th. And then the last race it just kind of got bottlenecked with nowhere to go, and ended up taking off the front wing again. So I had to go into the pits again and just see where I could get. Managed 15th, but with the drops weeks and everything, I barely scraped by on the AM Class Championship.
When both of those incidents happened, were you worried that at that moment, especially after the feature, that maybe the opportunity at the championship was gone?
There were times, yes, because I knew Aaron had a lot of pace, but then he kept getting caught up and stuff in the second feature because everyone was just hyper aggressive. So I just kind of waited to see where everyone fell. There were really only 2 people closest to me for that AM championship, and they both had issues the last race, which really does suck. And I really wish I was up there racing with them because it would have been a clean, fun race. But everyone kind of got caught out at bad opportunities.
Well, either way, you did end up over the full course of the season doing enough to walk away with that championship. Is there anyone that the AM Class champion wants to give a shout out to?
Honestly, I'd like to give a shout out to Aaron because he's kind of the one who's trying to get his lap times. He's definitely quicker, but he makes a mistake every once in a while, and that's what got him. But he's the one who's pushed me on through this, and then my whole family supports me and friends and all that. So thank you all. Hello.
Well, congratulations on a great season and an AM Class champion. That was Isaac Snyder.
Thank you.
Well, there's your champion then, Isaac Snyder. Well, I think Brian, I think we should get young Aaron Smith in, and I think it's only fitting that you speak to your AlphaTauri driver.
Aaron Smith, you got some high praise there from our AM class champion and Isaac Snyder. You were running so well there, just seemed like a small little mistake ended up taking you out of a good chance at a championship, but or really a chance at a good finish in the race. But overall, how do you think that your season went, and then how do you think this race went?
I feel like the season could have been a lot better. I never really had two good races. You know, I'd always have one good race and one really bad race, but I'm pretty happy. I mean, this is my first ever league race, like championship, so I can't, come in here expecting to win. So, I mean, it's just a learning curve, really. And it's good to drive around a lot of the tracks which I've not really driven around, especially ones like Bathurst. So, yeah, season's not been too bad, but this race, again, I mean, to be fair, I feel like most of it wasn't my fault, really. I mean, the first race was relatively quiet, I didn't really do much and came sixth, but this race, I don't know what happened. It's just everyone for like the first 5 laps was really aggressive, and especially after the mistake I made, it just put me a lot further down the pecking order, and inevitably netcode killed me and sent me offline, and I crashed.
Yeah, talking about that wreck that eventually ended up really taking you out of this thing, did you just feel that it was the curbs that just spun you around there and maybe not being on them usually, and it just ended up spinning your car? What do you think really made your car turn the way it ended up losing it?
Well, I mean, going through the 10-2, according to the game, Sam hit me, so that kind of sent me off my line and just drove me out wide. And again, being frustrated, I put the power down and just got onto the grass and spun and took out Aiden with me. So it's just, I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm honest.
Well, overall, especially if it's your first league season, I would say it's been a pretty good season for you. You ended up picking up an AM class win and a couple podiums. So I would say that you overall had a good season. So is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
No idea. As always, I have no idea who's watching. But once again, I just want to thank you guys for putting on such a good show for all of us. You've been pretty good every week, and I hope you guys, if there is another season, will be commentating over us then.
Well, thank you for that. And so that was Aaron Smith, not coming away with the best finish he was hoping for, but overall a good championship season.
Yeah, such a pity for Aaron Smith. Very, very close. But like you say, brilliant season for his first go at league racing. So I think finally, let's speak to our championship runner-up in the pro class, David Holland. David, that was so close. You battled all the way to the end. Tell us about your day's racing at Interlagos today.
Oh yeah, it was definitely not easy. It was fun, but yeah, no one made it easy for me out there. The heat race went okay. It was tough battling Barter. He squeezed me all the way down to the grass, but I ended up making it stick. And then yeah, over to the feature. Had Mark dive bombing me once I got up to the front, so that was fun. And then lap traffic getting in the way. But I mean, I appreciate Greg pulling over there at the end. He definitely didn't have to do it. That's racing, and that's how it goes sometimes. But he sealed the deal anyway, so huge congrats to him on the season.
Yeah, I thought that might have been what it was doing, but that's what a lovely gesture. Of course, we've had 5 amazing rounds of the season, all over tracks all over the world. What have been your takeaways? What have been your experiences that you remember from this particular series?
Oh, it's been quite a bit of fun. This has been a little bit different than a lot of the series and the leagues that we do, just in terms of format. The reverse grid has proved to be a challenge for me. I typically did well in the heat, and then come feature time, trying to work my way up from, the fifth row back has proved to be problematic more than once. But still fun nonetheless. It's fun doing a fixed setup league because you can just kind of jump in, practice for a few minutes, and basically be ready to go. So that's been fun. And yeah, just overall, like the format really made it interesting, kind of a little bit different than just running up towards the front. And all that. So I've had a great time.
Oh, I'm delighted to hear you've enjoyed it, and a very good season indeed. Now, before we go and let you go and enjoy your podiums and race wins today, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to live here on Apex Racing TV?
Yeah, definitely got to thank the team, Delta Sport. Brian does a great job with the team. Also, the sponsors, Butt Kicker, Track Monkey Apparel, Move Up Lynchburg, Race Factory, Shout Logo Wear, Driven Texas, and the best sponsor of them all, my wife, who's a great sport and really enjoys this and enjoys the broadcast that you guys put on. So great job to y'all as well. And Apex Racing League for putting it on. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for your very kind words, David. And please pass on our thanks to Mrs. Holland. We're delighted she's a fan. That is great. So that was David Holland, a runner-up in the Pro Class Championship. That's about all we have time for tonight on Apex Racing TV. It's been an incredible series in the Apex Racing Academy F3 VRS Super Series. Brian, final thoughts from the season?
Yeah, I mean, great season overall. I think the racing, we can both agree, from the first green flag that we saw all the way to the final checkered flag, it got better and better every time a car was put out on track. It just made for some intense racing and just some great battles. We got to see some tracks that you wouldn't normally see. Bathurst was one that I found quite enjoyable to watch, and it made it very tricky for the drivers. So I think overall we got to see some great battling between all these cars and drivers, and it just made for so much fun that there was drama all the way until the end.
I have to agree with you. I think today here at Interlagos we saw some of the best driving and some of the most brilliant wheel-to-wheel racing as well. It's been an absolute treat to call the racing with you and for our viewers on Apex Racing TV. A huge thanks once again to our sponsor Virtual Racing School for their support of this series. We really do appreciate it here at Apex Racing. And also a big thanks to our producer Marco Barbanera behind the scenes, pressing all the buttons and bringing you all these wonderful images and graphics as well. If you want to find out more about these Apex Racing leagues, you can go on to www.apexracingac.com for more information. We have GT4, we have GTE, and all kinds of other racing as well, and some very exciting things coming up in the very near future. Thanks so much for watching the Apex Racing Academy F3 Super Series. We'll see you again very soon here on Apex Racing TV.